My mother disrespected my wife during and after childbirth. Now my wife won't talk to her. Am I wrong for keeping my distance too? When my wife went into labor, her water broke while we had some guests, my brother and his wife. Over. My mom insisted that we wait for them before going to the hospital. I had to argue with her before finally leaving with my wife. It was a stressful moment, and instead of supporting us, my mom seemed more concerned about the guests. After our baby was born, my wife had stitches and couldn't eat spicy food for obvious reasons. My mom was handling food at that time, and when I asked her to keep the spices low, she dismissed it, saying, "Your father doesn't like it," and told me my wife was being high maintenance. Then, just hours after our baby was born, we video called my parents at 2 a.m. to share the news. Instead of celebrating with us, the first thing my mom did was start commenting on my child's nose and how she looked different. It felt so unnecessary and insensitive in such a special moment. These incidents were a turning point for me. I stopped taking my mom's opinions seriously and emotionally distanced myself. My wife, understandably, doesn't talk to her at all. I keep in touch with my parents by calling once a week, but I don't force my wife to interact with them. My mom occasionally asks if my wife is around and would like to talk, but I make excuses to avoid putting my wife in an uncomfortable situation. I feel like I'm doing the right thing by prioritizing my wife's well-being, but I also feel guilt because my parents are getting older. I want my daughter to have a relationship with her grandparents, so I let them see her over video calls, but I still keep my distance emotionally. Am I handling this the right way? Should I be trying to mend things? Or is it fair to keep my boundaries strong? How would you handle this? Fight with parents over how they chose to spend their own money. Hey everyone. I'm feeling kind of bad about an argument that I recently had with my parents. Recently, they needed to go out and purchase a new car. They're in their late 60s, and told me that they were hoping to find a car that is easy to maintain, easy to drive, and is relatively affordable. Since I am good with cars, I made some recommendations for them. I encouraged them to look at a new Honda Civic, Toyota Corolla, or Mazda 3, all of which are reliable, easy to drive, and match their budget. I also gave them some advice about how to get the best deal on the car. It would have been better if I would have gone with them, but I live hundreds of miles away from them at the moment and couldn't come back. The other day, they told me that they purchased their new car. However, they completely disregarded all of the advice I gave them. They ended up purchasing a huge SUV, which is the complete opposite of what I recommended. To make matters worse, they also got what I would consider to be a pretty bad deal on the car. All of the advice I gave them about walking away and not getting talked into anything seemed to go out the window. I felt like they went out to look at cars and bought the first thing that they saw. I ended up getting extremely frustrated after I learned about all of this. I know it's their life and their money, but I feel really annoyed that they didn't seem to listen to anything I had to say. Even though I'm in my late 20s now, I feel like they think that I'm a kid who has no idea what I am talking about. I feel like there was no point in trying to help at all. I'm trying to let this go now. I am supposed to go visit them at some point to help them with their new car. As I expected, they don't know how to operate many of the features on their new car. I guess I want to know if my reaction was at all justified, and how I can stop myself from getting frustrated with them.
Am I still considered a part of my biological family after I marry into another man's family and take his last name? Hi there. I've been pondering something my brother said to me a couple years ago, and I can't seem to make an understanding of it or find anything about it online. I'm hoping some of you in this sub can help. During a conversation about creating our future families, my brother, 24M, said to me, 26F, "Well, you'll never be a real insert our family last name because you're going to marry into another man's family and go off and create your own, and it will be my responsibility to continue on the our family's last name bloodline." There is some logic in what he's saying genetically speaking, but it deeply hurt my feelings. To be honest, it broke my heart a little and made me feel disposable and as if we did not love and care for each other in the same way. I'm incredibly confused by this statement. On one hand, I understand it. On the other, I don't. I'm deeply loyal and full of nothing but passion and respect for my family despite our imperfections. The love I feel for them is embedded in my bones, including and most especially for my brother. This statement has made me question the way he views me as his sister. Genuinely wondering, is this a normal way to view your sisters getting married? For some context, neither my father or my mother have installed this kind of mindset into my brother and I. Since we were children, my parents have always emphasized how much my brother and I need to stick together because one day if life follows its natural course we have. My mother's behavior and socializing has worsened over the course of 7 to 8 years to the point where I need help. Okay, for context, She's been married for 2 decades, and her behavior started deteriorated back in 2017, with her being extremely paranoid and conscious about the most ridiculous things. I want to help her but don't have the resources to seek professional help exactly, and when I tell my dad about it, he only seeks to give her medicine by having her forcibly taken to a hospital due to her unwillingness to cooperate. I don't want that to be the approach because my family tried it once and she got back to her old ways within months. Plus it hurts to see my mother being treated that way despite how she treats others sometimes. To give an idea about what things she's worried and paranoid about, here are some recurring antics or problems she mentions. A color phobia. It's not just about a negative view of certain colors, but the various implications. For example, if someone wears red or black, she finds it distasteful for whatever reason. Her reasoning is that the colors will bring negativity and bad luck to the family. She also associated the red and green colors with the stock market, which causes her to lash out when a certain stock crashes. This is the least concerning thing, but it's still an annoyance because she restricts the stuff our family can wear and puts limits on other aspects as well. Something similar to PPD, paranoid personality disorder, but I'm not sure. She assumes someone is trying to harm her just based on their body language or gestures. One extreme example of this was when a guy was pointing his phone in her direction, and she went up to him and told him to stop because it was hurting her. This kind of thing has been happening a lot actually. Another thing that I don't know how to define in proper medical terms or any psychological concept is that she associates time or numbers with bad events. An example of this is when I messaged her at 9:11 a.m., not purposeful. She got mad at me and mentioned the 9/11 attack. She also got mad at my dad for ordering 4 burgers, specifically saying that he should not buy a quantity of 4. Another thing is that she randomly says something like, "Yeah, you're right. So-and-so is ______," like someone is repeating something to her and she's just agreeing baselessly. She randomly makes insane statements with no basis and specifically mentions that someone told her so. And when we question further, she gets irritated, which sucks even more. And this has overall reduced her socialization as she keeps to herself, and this just distances her from everyone else. There definitely are more problems that she says she faces that I'm not sure how to explain, so I'll leave it for another post. But I sure would appreciate some help. I know this might not be the place to ask since these are psychology-related topics, but maybe you guys can help me out. Some additional context that may play a factor in all of this is that she lost her job back in 2016 or so, and she mentions it on occasion. Anyways, please reach out if possible if you have any idea on what to do. Thanks a lot. My entitled mom doesn't respect boundaries and wants to make important decisions for me. I really need to vent before I go crazy. I 37F, live in my own apartment and pay all my bills on time. I feel like I'm financially responsible and I know how to save and manage my money. I'm currently working full-time Monday through Friday. I have enough to pay all my bills, but I thought about getting a side job on the weekends to work on my own schedule to have a little bit extra income. I made the terrible mistake of sharing this with my mom. I just started my new job last week and my mom knows it, and for some reason she's been sending me job listings and giving me ideas of jobs I should do even if I already found a job. I didn't ask her this and I don't understand why she's doing it. With a full-time job and a side job on weekends, I already have enough on my plate. I will barely have time to rest, do errands, do laundry, and go grocery shopping. So why is my mom pushing me to work more when she knows I have 2 jobs already? Why does she feel entitled to my time and my life? I have told her that I don't need extra jobs, but she's stubborn and continues pestering me. It stresses me out so much because she makes me feel inadequate, like I don't do enough, and wants me to be a workaholic. I am self-sufficient, but my mom tells me what to do like she owes my life. I'm starting to believe that she's doing this on purpose to upset me. I've expressed that I feel stressed out and she ignores me and continues. A parent that respects their children's decisions doesn't act this way. Would you consider this normal? I don't know how to make her stop and leave me alone. Husband has been secretly planning a holiday with a female coworker. Premise: I never heard of this woman. I found many texts between them, subtly flirty with lots of these smiling face with hearts emoji from my husband and caring phrases. In these conversations I was never mentioned. When she asked him what he did for New Year's, he simply replied he watched fireworks like grandpa, nothing special. He didn't mention what we did after that. Anywho, amongst these many text exchanges I found some where they were planning a holiday to Egypt together with her friend and his 2 best friends. He denies it but then confessed they went on holiday together, her plus her friend and 2 of his male friends, in April while I was gone, and thought he just went there to see his family and friends. I want to confront her and ask her some questions in regards of how many times they frequented each other. He seems to think that because he tags a lot a male friend or 2 it's not a real date. I'm very hurt by my findings and obsessing over this. Would you all consider this cheating? Should I call her?